Hello everyone, welcome to Vanshika's classes. Today we will discuss the topic atomic structure. Atomic structure topic is very easy topic and it is very interesting too. So let's get started. So what is an atom? An atom is the smallest component of an element which retains the property of that element. It has many subparticles also like electron, proton and neutron. We will discuss it here. So the word atom came from the Greek word atomos. The meaning of this Greek word is indivisible or uncuttable. Okay, so atom cannot be divided further, so this name has been given to this entity. Keep a notebook and a pen with you so that you can write down the important points, or you can take the screenshot also. So this was the meaning of this word atomos. So write it down or take the screenshot of it. So moving further, now we will discuss the definition of an atom. An atom is the smallest particle of an element that retains the property of that element. So write it down or take the screenshot later on. Atom retains the property of that element. This part is very important. This is the smallest, but that retains the property of that element. Smallest are subatomic particles, but they do not retain the properties of that element. So this is the right definition of this atom. Atom retains the chemical property of that element. For example, if we take the atom of copper element, so that atom will retain the properties of copper metal. Suppose there is an atom of oxygen. For example, we take oxygen. Then that atom will retain chemical properties of oxygen element. Okay. So write down this definition, and this part that retains the chemical properties of an element is very important. Do not forget to learn this part. If you learn till here only, then it would be wrong. So learn the complete definition of this atom. So take the screenshot. Till now we have discussed the definition of an atom and its meaning. And where does this word come from? That also we have discussed. Everything is made up of elements, and elements are made up of atoms. Every matter, everything, whatever you take in your hand, everything is made up of matter, and every matter has atoms in it. Now I will show you the structure of an atom. After that I will tell you about the subatomic particles. So an atom has a dense nucleus in the center and around the nucleus there are orbits present. This is the first orbit, this is second orbit, this is the third one, this is the fourth one, and so on. Nucleus is very small particle inside an atom, and there is a very interesting fact that this nucleus holds the volume 1 by 1 lakh of an atom. This takes the space, this much space only, 1 by 1 lakh. Most of the atom is empty. This is the densest part. This holds protons, so it is positively charged. Protons and neutrons resides inside the nucleus. Neutrons are neutral particles and protons are positive particles, so the charge on the nucleus is positive. Electrons revolve around the nucleus on the shells or orbits. Orbits or shells are the same thing. This way. Electrons has negatively charged. Electrons has negative charge on them. So this is the rough idea of structure of an atom. Electrons are positive. Electrons are negatively charged and protons are positively charged. So there are 3 subatomic particles, 3 subatomic species. First one is electron. We will further read about each one of them in detail. Second is proton, and third one is neutron. Electron has negative charge on it, proton has positive charge on it, and neutron is neutral. It doesn't have any charge on it. So there are some names given to the orbits or shells of the this atom. So the innermost shell is K shell or the first shell. The second one is second shell or L shell. The third one is M shell or third shell. And the fourth one is N shell or fourth shell. And there can be many shells depending upon the number of electrons. So this was about the structure of an atom. Now we will discuss these subatomic particles separately. So starting from the proton. Proton has positive charge on it and it is always positive. It cannot be negative and cannot be neutral. It is always positive. So write down some facts about proton. So first point is, it is always positive. And who discovered the proton? Goldstein discovered the proton. He was a scientist. So write it down. It was discovered by Goldstein. This is very important to memorize. This can come in exam. So remember this point. This is very important point. So it is always positive. It was discovered by Goldstein and protons are present inside the nucleus. And in the periodic table, the elements are arranged according to the atomic number. So the number of protons is equals to the atomic number of an element. Suppose there are 5 protons in an atom. So its atomic number is 5. And the same number are electrons. Suppose 5 protons are there, so electrons are also 5 and the atomic number is also 5. So write it down. The number of protons is the atomic number of that atom or that element. Of that particle I'm writing. And in the next point write down that the number of protons is equal to the number of electrons. So these are five points about the proton, and the thing that in the periodic table the elements are arranged according to their atomic number is not to be written. So write down this 5 points. So this is all about the proton. Now comes the electron. So who discovered the electron? Electron was discovered by J.J. Thompson. Okay. So write down here. It was discovered by J.J. Thompson. The scientists' names who discovered these entities are very important and they can come in exam. These are very important according to exam point of view. And electrons, suppose this is the nucleus and these are the shells. So electrons are present on the shells. So we can say that electrons are present on the outer half of the atom. Inner half is nucleus and outer half is shells. On the outer half of atom. And this is electrons are negatively charged particles, so electron has relative charge of -1. Proton has relative charge of +1 and electron has negative charge, so its relative charge is -1. Relative charge of -1. The volume of the nucleus is 1 by 1 lakh of the total atom, and the diameter is also in the same proportion. So if the question arises that I'm writing it here, what is the ratio of diameter of nucleus to the diameter of this atom? So we will write the diameter of nucleus is 1 by 1 lakh of the diameter of the atom. So this is also important point. Write it down also. So this was about the electron. And yes, one more point. The number of electrons is equals to the number of protons. Protons and electrons are same in number. So this is all about the electron. So these electrons are present on the shells and this is known as electron cloud. So now we will come to neutron. So neutron was discovered by Chadwick. It was discovered by Chadwick. So this was about neutron, and you don't need to add more points about neutron. Some more points I will discuss with you about the mass number and atomic number. So the atomic number of an atom is denoted by letter Z, and the mass number is denoted by A. So you have to keep this in mind. So how would you define a nucleus? Nucleus is the center of an atom which contains protons and neutrons. So if you want, you can write down the definition of nucleus. Nucleus is the center of an atom which contains protons and neutrons. Further, we can add it has positive charge on it, or it is positively charged. Further, we can also add that it occupies 1/1 lakh part of volume of an atom. This is the most interesting fact about an atom. Most of the space inside an atom is empty. So this was about the nucleus. The nucleus is a very important part of an atom. So write down some points about this. This is the nucleus, and this holds the protons and neutrons in an atom. So write down nucleus contains all the protons and neutrons of an atom. This is clear to you? Second one is nucleus diameter is 1/1 lakh of the diameter of the atom. This is written here. I am writing it again because this is very important point. The diameter and volume also. So diameter or volume of nucleus is 1/1 lakh part of diameter or volume of the entire atom. And one more thing I will tell you, that this atom is the most densest part of an atom. This nucleus is the most densest part of an atom. So this is responsible for the whole mass of the atom, because outer shells are have negligible weight, negligible mass. So this is the mass of the atom. So how we calculate the mass of an atom? Mass of atom is equals to mass of protons plus mass of neutrons. Protons and neutrons are present here now. So mass of protons plus mass of neutrons is equals to the mass number of the atom or mass of the atom. Mass of protons plus mass of neutrons. Neutrons and protons. Okay. And this mass number or mass of the atom is denoted by A. This is denoted by the letter A. And because the protons and neutrons reside inside the nucleus, so these are known as nucleons. Protons and neutrons are called as nucleons. This term is also very important from the exam point of view. So this is all about the nucleus. To explain the structure of an atom, there were several different types of theories given by different scientists. So first we will study about Dalton's atomic theory. Dalton's atomic theory. He gave some conclusions about what he studied about atoms. First he told that atom cannot be divided further. So this point is very true. Atom cannot be divided further. Secondly, he told that atoms cannot be created nor destroyed. Atoms cannot be created nor destroyed. Third thing he told was every matter has different types of atom and the atom has characteristics of that matter. So he told that matter has their characteristic atoms. This means that atoms of identical matter are similar to each other. So this means that atoms of identical matter are similar in appearance or properties. Fourth point he gave was atoms combine in whole numbers because they cannot be divided further. So they will combine in whole number. Atoms combine in whole numbers to form a compound. As they cannot be divided further, so they are whole. So they combine and form a compound. Whole numbers to form compounds. And the fifth point is the composition of a particular type of atoms is fixed for a given compound. Is fixed or constant, you can write, is constant for a given compound. What does this mean? This means that suppose we take the molecule of water, H2O. So there are two molecules of hydrogen, atom means two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. This way. H2O. So water has two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. So this is constant. There cannot be three atoms of hydrogen or two atoms of oxygen. So this is constant. So this is the meaning of this point. And the fourth point is atom combine in whole numbers to form compounds. This means that atoms combine in a fixed ratio to form compounds. So this is all about Dalton's atomic theory. So after the Dalton's atomic theory comes the Thompson-Plum pudding model. A model of atom was given by Thompson, which was Thompson's Plum pudding model, or it is also known by the name watermelon model. I will tell you why. Or watermelon model given by Thompson. This was the scientist who gave this model. So according to him, he believed that atom is like a pudding, okay, and this is positively charged. This is like a pudding and it is positively charged, and the electrons are embedded inside this positively charged sphere as plums are embedded inside the pudding and as the seeds are embedded inside the watermelon. So it is also known as watermelon model. So these are electrons embedded like plums are embedded inside the pudding and seeds of watermelon are embedded inside the watermelon. These are negatively charged. This model failed to explain the shielding effect. This is positively charged, according to him. Shielding effect occurs due to the orbits and shells. So here there are no orbits. So Thompson failed to explain the shielding effect. So this was the model given by Thompson. So after the Thompson's model comes the Rutherfords model. This model was given by Rutherford. This model was also known as solar system model. He was inspired by solar system, and this model is also similar to solar system. So its another name is solar system model. He discovered that in an atom, nucleus is a very small particle or the very small center. Nucleus is very small as compared to the whole atom. He also concluded that most of the space inside an atom is empty. Most of the space inside an atom is empty. Then he said that like this planets revolve around the sun, the electrons revolve around the nucleus. This point is important because due to this point only its name has been given, this solar system model. So he said that as the planets revolve around the sun, the electrons revolve around the nucleus. He also said that nucleus is positively charged and the electrons revolving are negatively charged. these were the points given by Rutherford in the solar system model or Rutherford's atomic model. One important point, nucleus was discovered after the Rutherford's model came into existence. So nucleus was explained by Rutherford. This is important point. After this comes the Bohr's model. This model was given by the scientist whose name was Niels Bohr. He told that electrons revolve around a fixed orbit, around a fixed point in its orbit. Fixed point is nucleus. On their orbits. He also discovered that, he said that electrons cannot gain or lose energy. If it gains the energy, then it moves from lower to higher energy orbit. And if it loses the energy, it moves from higher to lower orbit. I will explain this point. He said that electron cannot gain or lose the energy. Electrons cannot gain or lose energy remaining on the same orbit. It cannot remain on the same orbit, and at the same time it cannot gain or lose the energy remaining in the same orbit. This is important point, remaining in the same orbit. Remaining in the same orbit. What does this mean? This means that electrons can gain and lose the energy, but if it gain or lose the energy, it changes the orbit. If it remains in the same orbit, it cannot gain or lose the energy. If the electron gains the energy, it moves from lower to higher energy orbit. And vice versa. This point is very important. This means that these are the orbits of electrons. Suppose this is the K orbit, this is nucleus. This is nucleus, this is K orbit, this is L, this is M. So if an electron is here and it somehow gains the energy. So after gaining the energy, it will not remain in the same orbit. It will excite and move to the higher orbit. So it will not remain in the L shell or orbit, but it will move to the M shell. Earlier it was here, now it will go here. So this is the way electron gains or loses the energy. In the same way, if the electron loses the energy, now it is here in the M shell. Now if it loses the energy, it will move to the L shell and becomes this. So this is the point of losing or gaining the energy. So this is all about today's topic. I hope you all learned important points from today's video.